The Eagles have signed backup quarterback Marcus Mariota. Why this is a perfect fit. Plus, Philly solidified the already strong defensive backs unit with yet another add. And the question we all want to know, is CJ Gardner Johnson ready to run it back? But first, let's run it. Happy St. Patrick's Day, Josh Davis here. Make sure to like and subscribe. Really appreciate all the support. All things come full circle. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, Marcus Mariota is now a Philadelphia Eagle. And let's remember correctly that 8 years ago, that was a realistic possibility. Now, I don't really want to go down that rabbit hole because those are years that I'm really trying to forget. But when Chip Kelly was at the helm, he was trying to sell off the farm and get Mariota. So if you don't remember, he was thinking about trading draft picks. We would still be paying for it. The mortgage that he was ready to sign up for would still have us paying for it. So thank goodness that didn't happen. But now, as I said, all things come full circle, and Marcus Mariota has agreed to terms on a one-year deal for $5 million. So take a look at this. So here's an article from Brandon Lee Gouton of Bleeding Green Nation. It says, Marcus Mariota is finally joining the Eagles. It says, quote, with Gardner Minshew signing with the Indianapolis Colts, the Philadelphia Eagles found themselves in need of a new backup quarterback behind Jalen Hurts. The top option remaining on the market was Marcus Mariota. And now he's joining the Birds on a one-year contract worth $5 million, $1.5 million more than Minshew received, with a max value of $8 million. One word, finally. Once upon a time, Mariota was the prince who was promised in Philly. He was supposed to be reunited with Chip Kelly, and the Eagles' former head coach reportedly tried to make that happen by trading up from their first-round pick at number 20 in the 2015 NFL Draft to select Mariota at number 2. Of course, that didn't happen. The Tennessee Titans decided to draft him and make him the face of their franchise. It didn't really work out. Mariota went 29-32 in the regular season and 1-1 in the playoffs as a starter before ultimately getting benched during his 5th NFL season. Ryan Tannehill took over, and he's been able to hold onto the job since 2019. Mariota then left the Titans to sign with the Raiders. The article goes on to kind of mention his connection there. Then obviously went to the Falcons, was 5-8. But interesting here in the article, and you guys may have known this from last season, but obviously whenever he was placed on injured reserve and Desmond Ridder took over, Mariota was accused of quitting on the team after his demotion. So it says, but the Eagles might have more insight on the situation than other teams do. Multiple members of Nick Sirianni's coaching staff have notable ties to Mariota. Eagles tight ends coach Jason Michael was his offensive coordinator in Tennessee for 2 seasons before being moved down to his quarterbacks coach for 2 more seasons. Eagles quarterbacks coach Alex Tanney, who was recently promoted after Brian Johnson was elevated to offensive coordinator, was Mariota's teammate on the Titans in 2015. Eagles special teams coordinator Michael Clay was Mariota's teammate at Oregon in 2012. Oh, and Mariota was obviously A.J. Brown's teammate in 2019. The Eagles star receiver scored his first NFL touchdown via a Mariota throw that year. End quote. Okay, again, the article goes on to mention Hurts is obviously the franchise quarterback. Mariota is just there to be backup and provide stability, but he's 30 years old. He's very serviceable. He's better than Minshew, and I think that most people would agree with that. But this is a guy that you have that has relationship, has ties with Nick Sirianni and the rest of the coaching staff. I think it's a phenomenal hire. Thumbs up for Mariota as the backup quarterback. Again, we're not asking him to play any games, and we're hoping that he doesn't play any games, but there's always the risk with the play style of Philly and the way that Jalen is willing to sacrifice his body at any time. He might have to play some games. He might have to play a couple games here and there. But just even having a veteran presence, I think it solidifies the offense a lot more than what you were to do, say, go into the draft and pick a rookie quarterback. That's putting a lot of pressure on them. So this, to me, is the much better option. Again, it's crazy how things come full circle, and Mariota now is with the Eagles when in the first place we thought he might be 8 years ago. Glad that didn't happen, but this could not be a better move in my eyes. So again, thumbs up to Howie Roseman for the deal. Make sure to like that. But the other news, and you guys may have seen this too, but Greedy Williams has also agreed to a contract. So Howie has been very busy, obviously, over the last couple days. This was yesterday, so the news broke yesterday. Greedy Williams and the Eagles agreed to a contract, and this is also from Bleeding Green Nation by Alexis Chasen, but it says the Philadelphia Eagles secondary is starting to come together early in free agency. Along with re-signing James Bradbury and a roller coaster ride of an extension for Darius Slay, the team has agreed to terms with Greedy Williams, according to Mary Kay Cabot. Williams was the Browns' second-round pick in 2019 and started in all 12 games that he played his rookie season. The cornerback suffered a nerve injury in his shoulder in training camp the following interceptions and 1 forced fumble. His 2022 campaign started off on IR with a hamstring injury and was followed by 11 games in which he was predominantly used used in a special teams role. Williams was a healthy scratch in week 14, but did come back for the final 3 games of the season, but still only for snaps on special teams. The Eagles know better than most on how important the depth is in the secondary, so they've added another guy who at the very least can help what was a very shaky special teams unit in 2022. As we've talked about a lot, and the article mentions, special teams was definitely a weakness. So anytime you can add a guy who maybe perhaps will play some special teams, I think that's fantastic. But also what I believe here is that there's a little bit more in the inner workings, because much like Rashad Penny, you're signing a guy with tremendous upside. I know he's got injury prone, and he has been injury prone, and he's got injury issues. Greedy Williams is the same way. Greedy Williams has played well when he's on the field, but again, that's when he's on the field. The question will be, can he remain healthy? I think if he can, then you may hit another home run. Could it be possibly as high as a home run like a CJ Gardner Johnson? Maybe, perhaps. It was a second-round pick. Greedy used to be, or I guess he was drafted as a second-round pick. So the potential, and scouts see that there is something there. It just comes back to what can you get out of him and how much can he play? You're not asking him to be the stud. Obviously, you have Slay and Bradbury like the article mentions too, but I think this is a fantastic signing. You can't have enough depth in the defensive backs unit. So this is phenomenal. Thumbs up for that. Really excited to see him play and can't wait to see what the look of this team is going to be. Now, last question that we keep asking, what's up with CJ Gardner Johnson? We don't know anything as of right now at the time of this recording. No news has broken officially, but what seems to happen is this thing is continuing to be drug on, and the question then became, okay, with Greedy Williams, is that going to be something of an issue? Are we talking about, that's how he's going with instead of CJ Gardner Johnson? No, I don't think so. I think that's more of a solidifying your cornerback spot. I know you could potentially move him to safety, ask Greedy to play a different place. He is a taller cornerback. I believe he's 6'2", but that's not the plan. The plan here is to get a deal signed with CJ Gardner Johnson. And as this continues to go on, there's a potential chance that CJ says, you know what, I'm just going to sign for a 1-year deal. I want to bet on myself, because he's obviously not happy with the market, or he would have already signed with a team, whether it was the Eagles or the Broncos or someone else. So the market is not really for his liking. I could see him possibly doing what an Alshon Jeffrey did and say, you know what, I'm going to bet on myself. I'm going to do a 1-year deal, and we'll see what happens. I would love to see if the Eagles can get a long-term deal done, but I don't know. I'm not sure if that's going to happen the longer that this thing plays out, but I do still believe firmly that the Eagles are going to sign CJ Gardner Johnson back. We'll have to see. We'll keep you monitoring on all the latest news, and be sure to break it as soon as we get that update. Appreciate you guys joining as always. Make sure to like and subscribe. Until next time, I'm Josh Davis, and this has been a Philly Special.